Hey everyone. Thanks for joining me. It's Tuesday, December 10th, 2013. And I'm going to finish up by trying to get these articles into the last one, into the first video, but I couldn't do it. So this video should be 15 minutes, but we'll see. The most homeless children in New York City since the Great Depression. It says this is at a time when Wall Street is absolutely swimming in wealth. They're experiencing an epidemic of homelessness. According to the New York Times, the last time there was this many homeless was during the Great Depression. A number of the homeless children in the U.S. recently set an all-time record. There's 1.2 million public school kids in America that are homeless, and the number has gone up by about 72% since the start of the last recession. Kind of surprised to see this article on the site, the economiccollapseblog.com. There's some people on the right that will tend to think of this as communism or redistribution of wealth. It's like I mentioned before, you have to think about it this way. It's redistribution of power. If the power's in a few hands, they're going to have most of the wealth. In the majority of cases, speaking against the redistribution of wealth, it doesn't solve the problem because it's just taking from people like the middle class and giving it to poor people, and the people at the top don't pay anything usually. But they like that too because it leads this kind of cold mentality in middle class people where they're like, well, fuck the poor, you know what I mean? I'm working, they're lazy. And it creates this kind of class warfare. So I guess the elites at the top, they kind of like that. So keeps the attention off them, I guess. The NYPD beat a family and killed their pet parakeet in their own home. So it says here that it was thrown from its cage after it was knocked off a dresser as cops came into her home. It says the officers then stepped on the bird, intentionally killing it. The officers also beat two of Lugo's sons, her daughter, and a family friend. So they're supposedly just basically going in there without a warrant. I'm not sure. They don't really say yet why they were going there. But they were basically manhandling these people. Struck their friend in the face, threw the woman into a dresser with a bird cage on it, then pepper sprayed Lugo's daughter. So, New York police chief is taking $1.5 million worth of publicly funded bodyguards with him when he retires. Well, he might need those bodyguards, right, for some of the stuff that the NYPD is known for. The Intelligence Division, with Kelly's input, is recommending that Kelly take with him a 10-officer complement of taxpayer-funded bodyguards, up from the 6-officer detail the commissioner had wanted last month. All right, moving on here. Virginia cops encouraging citizens to take photos of other citizens taking photos. This is from the 8th. The Virginia State Police is releasing a new crime-fighting application that basically encourages citizens to photograph citizens who are legally photographing in public. And according to Fox, says here that they're offering every motorist and pedestrian in the Commonwealth to be the eyes and ears for suspicious or criminal activity. The new app, available for most smartphones, encourages citizens to either directly text a message to state police or snap a picture and send it with a message to police. They believe younger cell phone users are more prone to text than they are to call traditional tip lines. And yeah, my computer is really... Yeah, what the fuck is this? I just noticed too, it's playing these, it's not uploading it. That's why it was taking so long to upload this first video. It's actually, it encodes it, and then while it's uploading, it'll go, and then it'll just drop after 60%. And this must have been doing that the whole time I've been recording. So, yeah. The other games I notice on YouTube is that they'll actually sign you out. It's like, well, I didn't know I signed out. No, the YouTube keeps signing me out, my account, automatically. I don't know why they keep doing that, but it's just another thing. All right, well, I'm going to try here. Browser keeps freezing, but TSA agent confiscates sock monkey's pistol. The Rooster Mockburn, the cowboy sock monkey, is without his pistol thanks to a diligent TSA agent. So, I believe this is the mother, says she's appalled and shocked and embarrassed all at the same time about the incident that happened on December 3rd. So she says that she and her husband were on her way from St. Louis to whatever, Seattle, I think. Seattle, Tacoma, and she had a couple of monkeys and sewing supplies in her carry-on bag. There was a small business selling unique sock monkey dolls. It says his pistol was in there. It says that her husband were going, basically they're going through the screening process when she noticed one of her bags was missing. The TSA agent held it up and said, "Who is this? Whose is this?" I realized, oh my God, that's my bag. So she said, "This is a gun." I said, "No, it's not a gun. It's a prop for my monkey." She said, "If I held it up to your neck, would you know if it was real or not?" And I said, "Really?" The TSA agent told May that she would have to confiscate the tiny gun and was supposed to call the police. She said that the Rooster Mockburn has been disarmed, so I'm sure everyone on the plane was safe. But she goes, lastly here, "I understand she was doing her job, but at some point, doesn't common sense prevail?" Google's future is microphones in the ceiling and microchips in your head. So, like that freezing again, like that application that we were just talking about to snitch out police. One of the person said, well, why would people do this? Why would they download the app? So, that's the thing. A lot of it's going to be done voluntarily. So, all right. So it says here that I don't have a microchip in my head yet. A man charged with transforming Google's relations. But he envisions a world in which Google microphones embedded in the ceiling listen to our conversations and inject verbal answers to whatever inquiry is posed. So computing is becoming so inexpensive that it's inevitable that there will be a ubiquity of connected devices around us, from our lapel to our car to Google Glass, the new optical head-mounted computer. I've heard about cloud computing too, that most of the servers were going to be issued, were going to be made for cloud. Up to, I think it was like 2018 would be 40%, almost 50% of them. So just because it's cost effective. So this is how it goes, right, with the artificial intelligence and singularity. An intracranial implant may be required, but according to Stanford, a method of recording brain activity could lead to mind reading. It says using a method, the novel method, the researchers collected the first solid evidence that the pattern of brain activity seen in someone performing a mathematical exercise under controlled conditions is similar to that observed when the person engages in quantitative thought in the course of daily life. It says now we're able to eavesdrop on the brain in real life. So neurology and neurological science director says, yeah, see, I'm getting ready to go upload here. You seem to have logged out in another window. You must be logged in to upload videos. Well, no fucking shit, right? So the findings could lead to mind-reading applications that, for example, would allow a patient who is rendered mute by a stroke to communicate via passive thinking. It could also lead to more dystopian outcomes, chip implants that spy on or even control people's thoughts. I thought it was kind of interesting, the Scott Huffman, Google's engineering director. Then you have this guy, Kate Edelman, professor, saying this is exciting, a little scary. Because, well, they're Jews, most likely. So the thing that I'm trying to say, though, is in this article, you have this Nobel Peace Prize, I guess, winner declares boycott of top science journals. So some people, they'll just go and they'll sell their souls for whatever, for money, for prestige, or something like that. But you have this person, Randy Sheckman, said his lab would no longer send research papers to top-tier journals. So he says, this is what the Guardian says, leading academic journals are distorting the scientific process and represent a tyranny that must be broken, according to this individual. He says the pressure to publish in luxury journals encourage researchers to cut corners and pursue trendy fields of science instead of doing more important work. This is what I was talking about. The prestige of appearing in the major journals has led Chinese Academy of Sciences to pay successful authors the equivalent of $30,000, as some researchers made half of their income through such bribes, Sheckman said. This is interesting because I saw another article about drilling for water. I'm not messing with you. It's under the ocean drilling for water. And And it's like, well, why don't they just start desalinizing? Why don't they use technology, use their freaking brains, and instead of just using it as some kind of political, humanitarian circle jerk, really is what it is. Why don't they just act, and why don't they fucking do something about it, right? Why don't they start running aqueducts of water from the ocean, desalinizing it? I mean, whatever. There could be plenty of different things that can be done. Instead, they have to say, no, we need to theorize about, spraying sea salts in the air to stop climate change, We need to keep drilling for way off in the oceans, in the Arctic. Even if we got to fry it with ionospheric weapons and heat it up in order to access this oil, we got to do that. We got to focus all our energy on doing that. Something that's non-renewable, so we can make a bunch of money off it. We can control people through it. Of course, drilling for this water is what it's going to be non-renewable, and it says here that it's prone to damage by drilling operations. Back to this article about chiming into people's minds, it demonstrates first that we can see that when someone's dealing with numbers, and second, that we may conceivably someday be able to manipulate the brain to affect how someone deals with numbers. About this Stanford study method of recording brain activity that could lead to mind-reading devices, and they need this chip. The procedure involves temporarily removing a portion of the skull, positioning packets of electrodes against the exposed brain surface. For up to a week, patients would be hooked up to the monitoring apparatus while the electrodes picked up electrical activity within the brain. And they're basically going to monitor it, right? And why are they spending so much money or so much time, so much focus on analyzing the human brain, psyche? Because they want to know how to manipulate it. Like, why are they theorizing about the weather and all this about the weather? Because they want to manipulate it. Why is there so much study in the focus of, economic science, finance? Because they want to manipulate it. They want to manipulate how people live, how they, trade. I covered this at the end of my last set of videos, I think on Friday. The National Reconnaissance Office, nothing is beyond our reach. That's the actual patch, close up. They're totally embracing their menacing Big Brother persona and putting it out there for the world to see, having launched a bunch of satellites and a mysterious payload on a spacecraft yesterday, complete with the logo of a creepy octopus sucking the life out of our world. There's a protest being planned against the last-minute Bloomberg push for mandatory flu vaccines. They say autism advocates, well, what about freedom advocates, right? People just don't want to get these damn shots. Are set to protest tomorrow against a quiet effort by the Bloomberg regime to require annual flu vaccines for all New York City school children under the age of 5. So why do they title it like this? Autism, maybe they didn't know, but if this is a propaganda piece, autism advocates, because I think it's like, there's no, the official health community and scientists and experts say there is no link between autism and vaccinations. So, these people are wrong, right? So they should just give up their protests and allow their kids to get jabbed. Just 3 weeks to go until he leaves office. Bloomberg's Board of Health is set to vote on new rules that would force children as young as 6 months old to be immunized each year before December 31st if they attend licensed daycare or preschool programs. The new H7N9 bird flu resists drugs without losing ability to spread. So, remember talking about there's already been cases and of this stuff breaking out, this new strain that the scientists have been working to weaponize it. Well, they say it's to build up immunity or resistance, but they had to experiment with a more weaponized form of it that transfers from animal to human more easily. They say it doesn't make it more likely to develop into a human pandemic. They say want to emphasize that the viruses seem to transmit fairly inefficiently overall, so that's probably what they're trying to tweak, right? But after about 140 people died so far with this strain, it says that there's possible transmission of a new flu from person to person. And the scientific analysis gave the strongest proof yet that it can at times jump between people and so could potentially cause a human pandemic. Lastly, in Hawaii, the mayor signs a GMO ban into law, prohibiting biotech companies from operating on the island and bans farmers from growing any new genetically altered crops. Well, what's the old ones? Thank you.